Hello, everyone. My name is José Oros. I'm a PhD student at Carnegie Mellon University, and today I'm very happy to be sharing this work from afar on generative AI and musical creativity. Generative AI is easily one of the biggest disruptors in the arts right now. However, technological change in music is nothing new. For the last 20 years, technology has impacted the music industry significantly. We can go back and think about piracy, peer-to-peer sharing technology, the rise of iTunes, and then internet radio with platforms like Pandora, and streaming services in the last decade with platforms like Spotify. Now, we're seeing disruption with the development of generative AI, which raises a whole new set of questions around copyright, fairness, and the nature of art and creativity. Researchers are studying the impact of generative AI across industries and from multiple angles: how it impacts productivity, how it impacts labor markets and entry-level jobs, even everyday tasks. Research is needed to understand how it will impact creativity and creative products. As in the case of music, we not only care about productivity, creativity and enjoyment are equally or more important. Art is a uniquely human endeavor, or at least that is how we think about it right now. It's a unique form of human expression, and artists and creatives are particularly cautious of its adoption and development for good reasons. Just recently, Guillermo del Toro, the famous Mexican filmmaker, said he'd rather die than use AI in his films, and compared its development to the creation of Frankenstein, as this monster created with multiple pieces without thinking about the consequences of its creation. On the other hand, you have artists that have fully embraced this technology and have even lent their voices to generate music, as is the case of Grimes. Even further, there are fully AI bands, such as the Velvet Sundown, which have emerged and amassed thousands of listeners on Spotify. As with previous technologies, generative AI has lowered the barriers of entry to create art. In the last 2 years, we've seen a quick development of tools that allow people, even novices with no art training, to create images, for example, in the style of Studio Givel. In music, with the search of models, particularly those that are text to music, people can create songs from prompts in a matter of seconds. This is the case of Udio or Suno, which can generate a song that at least has the appearance of a well-produced instrumented piece. And these songs have flooded the market. It is likely that you've listened to one. Just recently, Spotify reported removing over 75 million of AI-generated songs from their catalog. In this context, in our research, we're interested in understanding how generative AI tools, when incorporated into creative workflows, affect the art, and specifically the music that creatives make. As musicians and creatives adopt and incorporate these tools into their process, which, according to some surveys, they're doing to some extent for some tasks, we're interested in understanding the downstream consequences of its adoption. We've done research to understand whether generative AI has an effect on musical creativity. In one of our recent projects, we conducted a randomized control trial with musically trained individuals, where they come in and compose an original 15-second melody in a piano. And we randomly give some participants access to Udio, the generative AI platform, to use as ideation. What we find is that participants that create melodies under the treatment condition, i.e., the AI platform, actually change the stylistic choices that they take when they compose music. It also changes how people perceive the creativity and musicality of the music, in some cases negatively. So, creators need to be aware of potential trade-offs: unlimited and fast ideation versus potential effects in style and quality. More research is needed in this space. There are still a lot of open questions about the downstream consequences of the widespread adoption of generative AI technology in the creative space. Will it help enhance individual creativity at the cost of overall novelty, driven by the algorithms and the training data behind it? Or will it allow the creation of new, unique sounds? How can we best design systems that encourage co-creation, either by creating fully fledged songs or implementing other types of systems that are more ingrained in the creative workflow and speak not only natural language, but also symbolic musical language, such as the case of hookpad area, which can help you complete sheet music in a sheet. what works best and in which context, and what is the correct regulatory framework and policies that policymakers should put in place and that platforms should follow so we maximize the advantages of such technologies while minimizing the bad things. As the American songwriter Justin Tranter puts it, songs and songwriters are the core of the entire music business. If we are protected, we can do our jobs, and the whole business suffers. Thanks for listening today. Enjoy the rest of the conference.